So here is a Dhamma in approximately 10 minutes. The place to begin is obviously in a little bit of a background on equanimity and renunciation. Yes, equanimity and loving kindness, equanimity and compassion, equanimity and joy. That way you have a clear picture right from the beginning of a Buddhist cultivation. That is Buddhism for beginners. Yes, we want equanimity in all good states, equanimity. Yeah, it's like having a joke with yourself with the universe, right? The whole universe gets it. So you want to also have something that's more loving than a joke, so it could be equanimity with loving kindness, it could be equanimity with compassion, it could be equanimity with joy for everyone's happiness if they exist in happiness at that moment. It's always a muscle. It has to happen 5 times a second. It has to happen 28 times a second. Get it? So first you make it happen once a second, then you make it happen twice a second, then you make it happen 3 times a second, then you make it happen 4 times a second. Then if you want to retire at 4 times a second, then your equanimity muscle with loving kindness, compassion and joy will be a 4 per second muscle. And you don't have to go further than that. That will win you the race. But you do have to try to attain memory of 500 trillion, zillion of them. Right. Which is the Buddhist tradition throughout all universes. Right. Yeah. Yes. Right. Of course. And all there exists then is enlightened beings who've crossed the other shore. Where there all that exists is enlightened beings now, because it exists where the thought exists, right? And if your thought has become this muscle called the Theravada tradition and you've escaped samsara for good, then the only thought that you have is the thought of every single other enlightened being, and that is called equanimity with loving kindness, equanimity with compassion, equanimity with joy and others' happiness. It's a muscle 4 times a second you want to aim for, right? At least. If you have 4 times a second and then you die with the memory of 500 million of them, you will definitely be more happy in death. Yeah. And it's also to cool. Nibbana simply means to cool. So what you want to do is get your muscle focused on what? You get it. I don't have to get it for you, but I'll explain it to you so you can understand it from my point of view if you want. When you get it again and again and again, and your one thought is the same thought as enlightenment, then you cross over to the other shore to enlightenment instead of ignorance of a self. Right, yeah. Just get it. Just keep getting it. Don't cherish yourself with whatever you do. Do not cherish yourself. Yeah. There's simply a muscle there that's called a self. However you've been using it's wrong. Yes, however you've been using it's wrong. It's no self. Yep. Right. That also is an automatic cooling mechanism. Right. Yeah. No self is a cooling mechanism. Yeah. Yes. And it can be used without getting it at the same time as having no self. You just get it again and again and again and again. Then what is yourself? It's just getting it. It's no self. Right. It's just getting it. So what should we get? Equanimity mixed with loving kindness. Equanimity mixed with compassion. Equanimity mixed with joy and creating happiness for others. Being happy in oneself, I guess. And how does one get happy in oneself if no self exists? Well, you've believed in a self ever since you were born. The self can still exist. I'm not saying that there is no self because that is what ignorance is, it's a self. But also, there's no denying that a self exists when one exists. And when one can escape from dependent origination in the first order, with the second order of dependent origination, which is with, with the cancelling out of ignorance, there's no longer this, and with the cancelling out of desire, there's no longer this, and with the cancelling out of God knows, I forget it. But it's actually a really easy one to bloody use in intuition of a memory. Right, it is. Yes. You see, I can't explain everything to you in such a short time. The problem is I've got over 17 million hours of Dharma in me. Yeah. Yes. It happens when you go for refuge 3 times. Yes. Yep. And that's what you do. You just go for refuge in them, literally. And what are they? Well, the Sangha is supposed to be the Arhats. The Sangha is meant to be a representation of the entire universe full of nothing but enlightened thought on Earth. Yes. And what is enlightened thought? It's getting it with equanimity, getting it with equanimity and loving kindness at the same time, getting it with equanimity and compassion at the same time, getting it with equanimity and joy at the same time after your compassion has fruited. Right. How do you feel compassion? You feel compassion because you're enlightened and they are not. Right. But you can have a joke with a bird, they get it. You can have a good joke and feel a good hearty love and have a good joke with a bird if you want. I'm not saying that they don't get it too. It's just that their faculty of memorizing the Dharma and using skillful posture and skillful energy and skillful geometry and skillful, yes, right, is flawed compared to a human. But they get it and they can speak English. They are great translators. If you feel a good hearty love to them in equanimity, you'll get it. You will understand what they understand. Why? Because you have the same thought as them. You just put yourself out there, infinite space. The bird has jhana. The bird has a faculty of jhana. Without the faculty of jhana, it would not be able to flap its wings. Right. But it's not skillful in a philosophic way. It's just simply being and experiencing. It's not being and analysing and refining and studying. Right. Which you understand if you understand how to understand a bird or how to understand the fucking tree or how to understand the fucking coral. Right. Right. Oh, starfish. Yeah. Okay. That's it. And when you get it, you can get it in. If your only thought is getting it, that means you've not not getting it anymore, which means you are enlightened, technically. Right. And that's what the muscle of night is just getting it, but it's in a skillful way. Birds are enlightened, therefore Adam. No, birds get it in their own way. Yeah. Everyone has a self to cherish until they don't. Right, yeah, right. And that's why you feel compassion for them, not because they're suffering and fucking in poverty and they're dead or they're fucking right. We don't feel compassion for them for that reason. We feel compassion because they don't fucking have the faculty to get it yet. And that's why we cultivate the Dharma in speech, so we can understand how to explain it in a clear, comprehensive way, how to get it in terms of the senses, in terms of clear comprehending of renunciation and the urgency of Nibbana. It's an actual urgency to get it, and it's so simple. You just get the dependent origination and understand for about a week, and then you get your bloody equanimity with the noble truths, the eight noble truths in the bloody fourth noble truth, and then you'll have Nibbana again and again and again and again and again and again. Because right mindfulness is also right livelihood, and right speech is also right livelihood, and right understanding is also right livelihood. And getting it is easier than not getting it, because everybody gets something, no matter where they are. They always get something. They understand something. So getting it with right equanimity is also a factor in enlightenment, you'd say, Adam. I wouldn't call it something that's more technical than the Theravada. I say getting it while enlightened is a reason why someone can be considered worthy of reverential salutation, of gifts, of offerings, of bloody. So what we want to do is study the connected discourses are easier to study. Right. Yeah, the connected discourses are easier one to study, but they're not available for free, I don't believe, so we've just studied the numerical discourses. That's the full picture. If you can have faith in the Buddha's words, that is the full picture, and that isn't the commentaries of the Sutta by far, but it also is simplified, which getting it is easier that way. So who is the Dhamma? The Dhamma is what the Buddha became. The Buddha became the Dhamma under the Bodhi tree when he was fixing up every single ill and conquering the last abode of existence. Conquering the last abode of existence. He was trying, all these people were distracting him like a fucking motherfucker, but he still got it. Yeah, I got it. It's terrible. Yeah. Yeah. So when you have Your favourite type of distraction is yourself. That is the main distraction which one would have to conquer to attain enlightenment. Right. So, if you can only cherish yourself, how are you going to cherish the universe's beings? And if you can only cherish the universe's beings, how are you going to cherish yourself? Right, in equanimity. Right. But one can also feel empathy towards a being with compassion and then understand how to explain enlightenment to that being. And then once that enlightenment has been spoken, which is equanimity towards compassion throughout the whole universe, Buddha speaks to the whole universe, not just one being. And when you see the Dharma, you are seeing the Buddha, and that is the truth. But Dharma simply means that an existing thought at the time. If a thought exists, it is called a Dhamma, and that is what another technical word for Dhamma is, right? But there's also negative Dhammas and positive Dhammas there. Yes. No. Only in a flawed system. Only in a flawed system. Yes. Right. So, for example, if your Dhamma is self-oriented and lacking equanimity and joy and love and compassion and has no technical understanding of, just say, even one sutta in a numerical discourse of the Buddha, let alone 60 at the same time. Right, yes. You have varying degrees of ignorance contaminating your views. You have varying degrees of ignorance contaminating your. Yes, right. Yeah. Your manifestation output, your bully instinct, your fucking. Yeah, I get it. Right, right. So you get it. The only way to get good at talking about the Dharma is to talk about the Dharma. That's what I'm doing. Thank you. And then I'll watch all my videos. I don't release them. Right.